Anthony Albanese, of course, not just the greatest Prime Minister, but he's the greatest athlete of all time, the greatest Olympian of all time. And like all politicians, you know, when they, hey, I see how Newcastle votes. It ain't 100% what this room is cheering right now. But it's good to see all of your votes turn up every 3 years. It is good to see. All right. Now, of course, today he was doing his bit where he was announcing the reshuffling of the deck chairs on the Titanic. But have a look at how he compares himself and his government to the Australian Olympic team. This was him today, no editing, press play.
Australia is a great sporting country. We punch way above our weight in per capita terms, and Australians will all be cheering on the team tonight. I'm also very proud of the strong team that I'm privileged to lead as your Prime Minister. A team that is united, a team that is ambitious, a team that is absolutely focused on continuing to deliver and work for Australia.
Yeah, exactly the same, right? Like, exactly the same. Anyway, another poll telling us what the reality is for the government right now is that despite their protection racket, inside the Canberra bubble, of the bubble, inside the bubble, next to the bubble with the WhatsApp that talks to the bubble, another poll comes out today saying that things are not looking good. Right now, an election was held and it wouldn't be, but still, the Liberal and National Party is in front, according to the Redbridge poll, 51.5%. Now, what's fascinating to watch here is that if you dig deeper into the numbers, and you know I'm the data dude, so I won't bore you too much with it, but literally the people who've got lots of money and got no money and all in between, currently favouring the Libs. The people who own a house, paying off a house, or renting a house, currently favouring the Libs. So think about where the politics is supposed to be at the moment, where the too little too late tax cuts. Geez, it's almost like somebody made this point 1,000 times that it wasn't going to match and it didn't work and it didn't sugar hit and all the rest of it. Let's put it this way. The only way Albo could quickly change his polls, whack on a wig and call himself Kamala. And that's the way that he might get a little change, just a little one, and then we'll see what happens. But then, of course, that would mean Peter Dutton has to paint himself orange. OK, bad ideas, all bad ideas, but we're having a chat, right? Now, interestingly, this poll adds to the wider trend. Now, remember, they always say, oh, this one poll doesn't count, and it's only one, and, you know, the biggest poll is election day. All of that true. And I'm not somebody who believes that it is going to be, at this stage, most likely a one-term government, but trend is always worth noting here. And it doesn't matter whether it is the left wing, the right wing, the News Corp, the Channel 9 newspaper, the freaking Guardian opinion poll. Have a look at what's been happening. This is all current numbers on primary vote. Preferences, of course, who knows where it all ends up. But you need to have a look here that at the last election, the Labor Party is about the same at 32% in Newspoll and Redbridge, but it's down 4 points in Resolve, 3 in Essential, 1 in Freshwater, 1 in Morgan. Now, remember, that was the lowest level they had got in the best part of a century. If that was to be repeated, then most likely the Greens in some places, a couple of places, the Libs. The question is all about the Teals and what happens there. But the Libnat vote is up 2.3 in Newspoll, 5.3 in Redbridge. Redbridge, by the way, does a lot of polling for the Teals. So let's see what data comes out of that. 2.3 for the Resolve, down in the Essential poll, which happens to come out in the Guardian, but still. Freshwater, it's up 4.3, and in Morgan, it's 3.8. So despite the fact that the polls are where they are, the Prime Minister has had to make a couple of changes. But it's not like we saw these changes coming, apart from the fact that we all saw them coming. Clueless Claire O'Neill and that idiot Andrew Giles. What they did to the border, what they did to national security was a disgrace. You could be the hardest of hardcore Labor supporters and know it, or be people who didn't vote for it and be even more aggravated. But this was the Prime Minister standing by Andrew Giles and Claire O'Neill over and over and over again.
They will be continuing in their roles, and Peter Dutton another day, another bit of negativity. I have no intentions of making changes imminent.
So guess who got the arse today? The very two people who he was apparently saying were the best ministers of all time. Gone. Out of Home Affairs, out of Immigration, Andrew Giles now makes his way to... sorry, the fighter jets are just taking off. I don't know where they're heading, but New Zealand, make sure you get your good night's sleep. Now, joking, relax everyone. Of course, what happened was that Andrew Giles now goes off to skills or something, which is somewhat ironic because he doesn't have them. And then, of course, Claire O'Neill is going to go off to housing because she knows how to build them. I don't know, it's ridiculous, right? But the person replacing them is Tony Burke. So does anyone think Tony Burke is going to do any better with the borders than the other two? And my favourite detail of the reshuffle, and again, normal people could not give a tuppence razoo about a reshuffle. But not only does he keep most of his former ministries, he gets all of these added on top of it. So he's simultaneously in charge of Home Affairs, Immigration, but he'll remain the Minister for the Arts. How does this work? I don't understand. But anyway, so he will be apparently tossing all of those things at the same time. Meantime, is there about to be an early election? Now, remember, the earliest it can happen is August. For one to be called for the end of August, that'd have to happen now. So now we're looking at earliest case scenario, September. But of course, September, October, Queensland election and the US presidential election could be where you go for the distraction. Otherwise, we'll see what happens. So most likely November, December, obviously if it's to take place this year. But I wanted to show you the game that the Prime Minister is now going to play, and this is so infuriating because... look, he calls it when he calls it, right? He calls it next week, next month, next year. And we're all ready. I'm pretty sure you all know how to vote in the next little while. I'm pretty sure you'll all bring a pen with you. I know the people in this room. They're bringing a pen, no pencils. But the reality is that it's got to happen sooner rather than later. Prime Minister started to play the game that the Canberra Press Gallery loves more than anything, which is, Prime Minister, will there be an election anytime soon? Well, seeing you asked, let me announce it. No, but he leaves the door open from now.
I would expect that this is the team that I will take to the election when it is held sometime in the future.
And this bloke is a little high on his own supply. Now, we all know that Albo thinks he's the best ever. He's comparing himself to the Australian Olympic team. Does that mean there's like a little Laurie Lawrence running around in his head going, go, Albo, go! Good on you, son, get in there! Like, that's how he pumps himself up who knows, right? When he starts stealing Japanese flags, there's a little Dawn Fraser inside him. We'll all see what happens, OK? When he goes to the G7 and starts taking things. But... have a look at how he spoke to a reporter today. Now, again, I'm no fan of the Canberra Press Gallery, but how patronising is this leader of the country with a reporter doing a natural follow-up to the when is the election going to be vague question? Is this a guy who is doing anything other than playing games? What's your take?
Given the election sort of around the corner, how much of this...
Not quite around the corner, although I keep reading August 31, which means I need to go see the GG this afternoon, if that's the case.
You're ruling that one out, though, take it.
Oh, not necessarily. Watch the car, mate. See where it goes. It's the one with the flag on the front.
Very good. How much of this ministry, particularly your senior players, some of whom...
Seriously, this guy, he just keeps hitting them, doesn't he? And they're 6 and out because they keep hitting the neighbour's roof. 6 and out, 6 and out. Almost likely the neighbour's cat. I know that was Malcolm Turnbull. Now, let's talk here about another little issue, which was, allegedly, that Matt Thistlethwaite. Now, he, of course, was appointed to the most bizarre of the ministries when Albo first became the Prime Minister 2 and a bit years ago. That scenario was that he was the, Deputy Minister for the Republic. And then 60% of Australia said hell no last year. So guess what disappeared today? The Ministry for the Republic. But despite the fact... You like it? OK, cool. So despite the fact that it was his idea and he named someone for the job, right? He kept them there, did not sack them, did not move them, did not anywhere else, right? Anthony Albanese, when asked, why did you get rid of it now, blamed the previous leader of the Labor Party, Bill Shorten. Have a look for a decision he made today.
Looks like you've axed the Republic as a portfolio. Why have you done that? And is that an admission that was a bit of an indulgence and not realistic?
Well, the portfolio was appointed first under the previous Labor leader. It's something that I inherited.
What is his fault? What is his responsibility? Now, fingers crossed, inflation numbers, they stay in line ball territory for the Reserve Bank. If they mirror what had happened last month, as opposed to the month before, when it comes to what it will happen with June with inflation, interest rates go up. If interest rates go up, we are told 800,000 more Australians end up going into mortgage stress. This is on top of the millions more who are finding it very difficult to pay a house off. This is a serious worry of people right now. We've had the money blasted against the wall of $14 a week that didn't change anything politically, that could well have gone into many other things, including, in my view, if a government has a surplus, they should take a couple of $1 billion and give it straight to the charities that are actually doing the things for the difficult times right now, right? Because it helps. Thank you. I appreciate it. It just, like, it really gets